Power Rangers has never really been known for its great acting. There are a couple reasons for this. One is that Power Rangers has been a non-equity show for most of its history. What that means is that no one on Power Rangers is part of a union that makes sure they have fair wages and proper work conditions. That's not to say there aren't any good actors that aren't a part of a union, but most actors that realize that they have a lot of talent decide to join one, especially since most big TV shows and movies are equity, and any equity productions can only have employees in a union. The other big reason is that Power Rangers doesn't have the best history of casting for acting ability. I remember a few years back when Saban still owned the show that a casting call was put out for Beast Morphers that said they were looking for martial artists and that acting ability was encouraged but not required. With all that said, there are definitely lots of really good actors in Power Rangers. So today I'm going to be going through 5 great Power Rangers actors in no particular order. Also, I'm gonna be keeping this to 1 per season. 1. Paul Shearer and Jason Narvey. Yeah, I know having 2 is cheating, but how am I supposed to separate Bulk and Skull? These guys were obviously the best comedic duo in Power Rangers, and quite possibly one of the greatest comedic duos of all time. There's a reason these guys were the only cast members that were on the show throughout the entire Zordon era, and almost had their own show twice! They were the most experienced on-screen actors in the original cast, and Paul Shearer even acted as acting coach to Steve Cardenas when he first joined the show. These guys are almost as iconic as the Rangers themselves, and one or both of them have appeared in 10 seasons of Power Rangers. 2. Robert Axelrod. Robert Axelrod was most famous for voicing the menacing Lord Zed, which is the reason he's on this list, but before that he voiced Finster and Lokar, and over the years he voiced a handful of Monsters of the Week. Lord Zed was super menacing when he first popped up on screen in Season 2, and although he became a little more tame and less menacing over time, he still had his moments. And even when he wasn't menacing, Robert Axelrod was acting his heart out, and during Lord Zed's comedic moments, he did it really well. Lord Zed could be funny without being a caricature. Rest in peace, Robert Axelrod. You won't be forgotten anytime soon. Number 3. Liana Ramirez. Beast Morphers was honestly a pretty good season in terms of the acting. The best acting in the show, in my opinion, was from Liana Ramirez as Roxy and Colby Strong as Blaze. I chose Liana just because the difference between evil and good Roxy shows a little more range than evil and good Blaze, and Roxy is shown off a little bit more in the show. But as I said, the range you can see between the real Roxy and Cyber Roxy is huge, and she plays both parts very well. I'd point to digital deception. In this episode, Liana has to act as an avatar, acting like her impression of who Roxy is. What? Also, she has a YouTube channel, so check that out. Number 4. Adelaide Kane. Adelaide Kane played Tanaya in Power Rangers RPM. Another season with pretty good actors across the board. There's a reason not a ton of people have come back from RPM, and that's because a lot of them joined a union right after RPM. Again, Tanaya is a really interesting character. I think now's a good time to just quick mention that a lot of what makes an actor stick out is the writing. Most of the actors on this list had really interesting characters with interesting stories, so I just wanted to mention here that there are tons of great Power Rangers actors that just didn't have really memorable characters, and it's not really their fault. Anyway, Adelaide Kane has gone on to do some great stuff, and it's not surprising considering her great performance, which really portrayed someone's identity being completely flipped around and coming to realize who they really are. At number 5, Vernon Wells. Vernon Wells is probably one of the only Power Rangers actors that, even prior to PR, was known for being in big movies. This was because Power Rangers Time Force was one of the few seasons that was equity, so Time Force had really great actors on it. And it was really hard for me to choose just one actor from Power Rangers Time Force. Vernon Wells played a great Ransik, while also being able to add a level of depth to it. It wasn't just evil for the sake of it. You could feel that he was evil because he hated the way he and his fellow mutants were treated, and out of love for his daughter. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, let me know in the comments who your favorite Power Rangers actor is. Subscribe for daily videos, and I'll see ya. Bye.